Welcome to Savitribai Phule Shikshan. Welcome to Savitribai Phule Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Renuka Junior College. Myself Utikar R.A. I am the staff of 12th Standard Subject Biology. Today we are going to start the lecture number 14 about the topic reproduction in lower and higher animals. Today we are in this section. We are going to take a look at female reproductive system. So in exam they can be asked you in detail about this point. So this is very important point. A female reproductive system includes 7 things. The first one is a pair of ovaries, second a pair of oviduct, third uterus, fourth vagina, fifth external genitalia, it is also called as a vulva, sixth a pair of vestibular glands, and 7 a pair of mammary glands. So all the 7 points are included in a female reproductive system. So the first point is about the ovary. So what is ovary? Let's see. It is the primary female sex organ. Its main function is production of egg or ovum and the female reproductive hormones. So this is the main function about the ovary. Ovary is producing the eggs as well as female reproductive hormones. See the features. It is a solid oval or almond shaped organ. It is 3 cm in thickness, length, 1.5 cm in breadth and 1 cm thick. It is located in the upper lateral part of the pelvis near the kidney. So this is the location. Each ovary is held in position by a ligament by attaching it to the uterus and the abdominal wall. The largest of this is the broad ligament formed by a fold of peritoneum. There is a large ligament which is holding the ovaries towards the abdominal position. It is peritoneum. It holds the ovary, oviduct and uterus to the dorsal body wall. Dorsal means backside. The ovarian ligament attaches ovary to the uterus. The ovary produces 5 hormones, that is estrogen, progesterone, relaxin, activin and inhibin. These are the 5 hormones of female reproductive system and that will be produced by a ovary. So ovary is very important as it produces eggs as well as these 5 hormones. See the structure and development of ovary. Each ovary is a compact structure differentiated into a central part called as a medulla and the outer part called as a cortex. The cortex is covered externally by a layer of germinal epithelium. So there are 2 parts, medulla and cortex. So cortex we are concerning. The stroma or a loose connective tissue of the medulla has a blood vessels, lymph vessels and nerve fibers. See the middle portion, it is also called as a medulla. Medulla has a blood vessels for providing blood and oxygen, lymph for collection of waste molecules and it has a nerve fibers also. The outer cortex is more compact and granular. It shows a large number of tiny masses of cell called as a ovarian follicle. These are collectively formed from the immature ova originating from the cells of the dorsal endometrium of the yolk sac. Now we are concerning about the ovaries. Ovaries containing the primordial follicles, small structures, and the structures are responsible for the production of Graafian follicle again. See the next point. The cell migrates to the gonadal ridge during the embryonic development and divide mitotically. How the cells are going to be formed in embryonic stages, embryonic development, that we are going to concerning. Now these cells are called as a oogonia. As the oogonia continues to grow in size, they are surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells and forms the rudiments of the ovarian follicle. Now ovarian follicle has a covering which is responsible for the protection as well as growth in a size is said to be the oogonia. Oogonia occurs during the developmental stages of the fetus. The process of oogenesis starts much before the birth of the female baby and by the end of the 12 weeks of the ovary, the ovary is fully formed. So the ovaries are going to be developed at the 12th week after when the baby is going to be developed inside the womb. So it has a more than 2 million primordial follicles in it. So whenever the female baby is going to be developed at the 12th week, the ovary is produced, and that ovary contain approximately 2 million primordial follicles. So this is the diagram of transverse section of ovary. See, the blood vessels are there. At the day 1 there is a primordial follicle. Menstrual cycle is a continuous process. Okay, so first menstrual cycle is carried out at the day 1. The second menstrual cycle is going to be prepared. So what happens in a day 1 of menstrual cycle? The primordial follicle comes out and it starts to develop and larger in a size. Primordial follicles are converting into primary follicle. After that, converting into secondary follicle. At the day 12 it is bigger in a size. Let's see the diagram. Now at the day 12 the secondary follicle is going to be converted into tertiary follicle and mature follicle. Mature follicle is now ready for the ovulation process. So at the day 14th, whenever ovulation is going to be start, there one ovulated ovum is ruptured and released from the ovary, and that ovary contain the germinal epithelium also. Now the developed egg in which the ovum is not present but remaining portion is there, that yellow color portion is said to be corpus luteum. Corpus luteum it has a nutritive portion. That nutrition portion becomes dried when ovum is not there, so it converting into corpus albicans, and in that way the cycle is going to be carried out. So this is the transverse section of ovary. The cells of germinal epithelium give rise to groups of oogonia projecting into the cortex in the form of a cords called as a egg tube or P flagella. Each cord and its end has a rounded mass of oogonial cells called as egg nest. This is all about the ovaries, okay, from which the primordial ovarian follicles develop. Each primordial follicle has its center of a large primary oocyte. Now see how the development is carried out. Primarily the primordial follicle is a 2n, means double set of chromosomes are there, surrounded by a single layer of a flat follicular cells. The primary oocyte starts within the meiotic division but get arrested at the meiosis 1. So primordial follicle which is a 2n undergo the cell division meiosis, in which meiosis 1 get arrested. Of the 2 million primordial follicles embedded in the fetal ovary, only about 1 million remains at the birth and only about 40,000 remains at the time of puberty. So I am repeating the point again. Whenever fetal developments are there, female baby starts to develop its ovary at the week 12th weekलाच ovaries develop झालेले आहेत. त्यामध्ये 2 million primordial follicles आहेत. Whenever birth occurs, at that time only 1 million primordial follicles are there. But whenever puberty occurs, where the child is going to be converted into adult, at that time only 40,000 primordial follicles are remaining. So large scales of destruction of primordial follicles are there. So the large scale destruction of the primordial follicles during growth is called as atresia. The movements of the primordial follicles into mature or a Graafian follicle restarts with the onset of puberty. During each menstrual cycle, only one of the primordial follicles starts growing to form a Graafian follicle. We repeating this point again and again. So whenever the development of primordial follicle will be there in one ovary, only one Graafian follicle is going to be matured in a one menstrual cycle, not more than one. In each cycle, alternately one of the two ovaries produces a Graafian follicle. The first menstrual cycle or menarche begins normally at about 13 years, and menopause, that is stopping of the cycles, happens at the age 45 to 55 years. So whenever menstrual cycle gets started at the puberty, that process is said to be menarche, and it occurs at the age of 13 years. And whenever the menstrual cycle gets stopped, it gets paused, so it is said to be the menopause, and it occurs at the age of 45 to 55. The period in between menarche and menopause is the reproductive age of the female, and it is approximately 32 years. So it gets started from the 13 years and ends at the 55 years. So definitely 32 years are required. 32 years are given to the female body for the reproduction life or reproduction process. In this time, the female will producing the maximum of about 416 eggs, that is 32 years, and in a 1 year 13 menstrual cycles are there. So 32 into 13, that is 416 eggs. So how much eggs are going to be ruptured and how much eggs are going to be formed, that we are concerning. I am repeating the point again. Whenever a female baby is developing in the fetus, it contains 2 million primordial follicles. When birth of the baby occurs, it contains only 1 million primordial follicles. When that baby converts into an adult, that is whenever adolescent is there, puberty is there, at that time only 40,000 eggs are present. In that 40,000 eggs, in the 32 years reproductive life, only 416 eggs are utilized. So the large scale of destruction of primordial follicles are there. Destructions means destroying of the primordial follicles are there, and it is said to be the atresia. Now see the structure of Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle is a mature ovarian follicle. An eccentric secondary oocyte is surrounded by a non-cellular layer of a zona pellucida secreted by the vitelline membrane of oocyte. Zona pellucida is nothing but the combination of theca externa and theca interna, that we are going to study next time. The outermost protective and a fibrous cellular and the fibrous covering is called as a theca externa. So the outer covering of egg is said to be theca externa and inner covering is said to be theca interna. Theca externa and theca interna are combinedly called as a zona pellucida. It produces the hormones estrogen. Inner to the theca interna, the Graafian cells, the follicular cells forms a membrana granulosa. From the membrana granulosa, the cells differentiated into discus proligerus and the corona radiata. Cumulus oophorus is the term used for the oocyte and surrounded granulosa cell. A fluid-filled cavity called as the antrum lies between the oocyte and the membrana granulosa. It is filled with the fluid called as a liquor folliculi. So these are some terminologies used in a Graafian follicle. This is the diagram of Graafian follicle, where outer covering is said to be theca externa, inner covering is called as a theca interna. Inside that there is a fluid. That fluid is called as a antrum. That fluid contains cells that are called as a granulosa cell. Granulosa cell are internally presenting the oocyte, and above the oocyte there are again one type of a cell is said to be corona radiata. So this is the basic diagram of Graafian follicle. In this way we completed the first portion of female reproductive system, that is ovaries. The second part of female reproductive system is a oviduct, also called as a fallopian tube or a uterine tube. So these are the only one structure having three names. So these are the pair of muscular ducts lying horizontally over the peritoneal covering. The proximal part of the tube lies close to the ovary and distally it opens into the uterus. So it is a tube-like structure which connects the ovary and our uterus. Each tube is 10 to 12 cm in length. So that this is the length of our fallopian tube. It is internally lined by ciliated epithelium. Ciliated epithelium lining is necessary for swipe out of the ovum during ovulation process and comes towards the uterus. So therefore it has a lining of ciliated epithelium to swipe out the ovum. It is the after that it can be divided into three regions. The three regions are infundibulum, ampulla and isthmus. So let's see, we are concerning about the three parts of fallopian tube. See the first one, that is infundibulum, the proximal funnel-like part with an opening called as ostium surrounded by many finger-like processes called fimbriae. So the finger-like projections which are holding our ovary is said to be fimbriae and the opening present in it is said to be ostium. The cilia and the movement of fimbriae helps in driving the ovulated egg to the ostium. Now ostium is the opening from which whenever ovulation is there, that ovum is released. So through ostium it will come away from the ovary, it will go to the fallopian tube now. Now the second portion is the ampulla. It is the middle, long and a straight part of oviduct. Fertilization of the ovum takes place in this region. So whenever mature ovum is there, sperms are there, that sperms and ovum get going to be meet at certain point, and that certain point is said to be ampulla, where actual fertilization process is carried out. The third portion is the isthmus. It is also called as a cornua, the distal narrow part of the duct opening into the uterus. So the connection point between the fallopian tube and the uterus is the isthmus. The third portion about female reproductive system is the uterus. So the bag-like structure which is holding the baby is said to be uterus. So let's see what is uterus. It is commonly also called as a womb. It is a hollow muscular pear-shaped organ located above and behind the urinary bladder. See the location of uterus. It is located above and behind the urinary bladder. It is about 7.5 centimeter long, 5 centimeter broad, and so it is 7.5 centimeter long, 5 centimeter broad, and 2.5 centimeter thick. The uterus can be divided into three regions as a fundus, body, and cervix. So what do you mean by fundus? Let's see. It is the upper dome shaped part. Normally implantation of the embryo occurs in the fundus. So fertilization occurs in the ampulla. Fertilization occurs at the ampulla, implantation occurs at the fundus. So it is very important, don't confuse in it. After that, second portion of uterus is the body. It is the broad part of the uterus which gradually tapers downwards. The third portion is the cervix. Let's see, cervix is a narrow neck about 2.5 centimeter in length. It extends into the vagina. It has two openings, the internal OS towards the body and the external OS towards the vagina. So cervix is nothing but the neck-like portion. It is 2.5 centimeter in length and it has two openings. Internal is towards the body and external OS is towards the vagina. Now the fourth portion of female reproductive system is about the vagina. So let's see. It is the tubular female copulatory organ, 7 to 9 in centimeter. It lies between the cervix and the vestibule. The vaginal wall has an inner mucosal lining, the middle muscular layers, and the outer adventitia layer. So these three layers are present in the vagina. The mucosal epithelium is stratified and non-keratinized and store glycogen. There are no glands, but the cervical secretions of mucus is received in the vagina. The openings of the vagina into the vestibule is called as a vaginal orifice. So there are two openings. That two openings combinedly said to be the vaginal orifice. This openings is covered partially by a fold of mucous membrane called as a hymen. The vagina acts as a passage for menstrual flow as well as a birth canal during the parturition. Now the fifth portion of female reproductive system is the external genitalia. Let's see. The external genitalia organs of female includes parts external to the vagina and are collectively called as a vulva, that is a covering or a wrapping, or pudendum. Pudendum is also one of the name for external genitalia, but vulva is widely used name. They includes the following parts. There are 5 parts of external genitalia. The first one is the vestibule. It is the median verticular depressions of vulva enclosing the urethral and vaginal openings. Second part is the labia minora. These are another pair of thin folds inner to the labia majora, with which they merge posteriorly to form the forchete, while towards the anterior end they converge into the hood-like coverings around the clitoris. So labia majora and labia minora are one of the same things. We completed the labia minora. See the next one, that is a clitoris. A small conical and sensitive projection lying in the anterior end of the labia minora. It has a pair of erected tissues, the corpora cornovosa, and a homologous to the penis. So there are somehow similarities in the male and female reproductive systems. In male reproductive system there is a penis-like structure, and in female that penis is somehow similar to the clitoris. After that, the fourth portion is the labia majora. These are a pair of fleshy folds of skin forming the boundaries of vulva. They are homologous to the scrotum. In male reproductive system, there is a scrotum which holds the testes. In female reproductive system, there are labia majora which are homologous to the scrotum. They surrounded and protect the other parts of the external genitalia and enclose the urethral and vaginal openings of the vestibules. The last portion of external genitalia is a mons pubis. It is a fleshy elevation above the labia majora. The mons pubis and outer part of the labia majora shows pubic hairs. The last portion of male reproductive system is the mammary glands. Let's see what do you mean by mammary glands. Accessory organs of female reproductive systems for production and release of milk after parturition is a mammary gland. Development of the mammary glands occurs at puberty under the influence of estrogen and progesterone. These hormones you have to remember. Whenever puberty is there, at that time estrogen and progesterone hormones are releasing, and that hormones is responsible for elevation of mammary glands. Lactotropic hormones, that is LTH or prolactin, helps in development of lactiferous tubules during pregnancy. So this is the basic diagram of mammary gland. It contains pectoralis major muscles. These muscles are highly rigid. After that there are a suspensory ligament. That suspensory ligament holds the lactiferous sinus and lactiferous duct. Lactiferous duct have a property to hold the milk. After that there is a gland lobules and a fatty portion. Behind the mammary gland there is intercostal muscles and ribs are there. Ribs and lungs is the you can say dorsal portion of our mammary gland. So in next lecture we are going to concern about the menstrual cycle. Thank you.